Spring training for the American League Central is here. Let's dive in. And honestly, looking at the landscape of these five teams, it feels less like a standard preseason and more like a script for some high-stakes HBO drama. We have a little bit of everything happening.
It really is a fascinating mix this year. I mean, usually spring training is all about optimism, hearing the crack of the bat, smelling the grass, everyone's at 0-0. But the AL Central this year is offering this really stark study in contrast. On one hand, you've got aggressive, high-spending, all-in energy, and on the other, you have teams in, well, absolute crisis mode.
It's wild. We're talking about a division that has a team handing out a $115 million check to a pitcher and another one dealing with federal gambling indictments. The disparity in the vibes as players report to camp is it's massive.
Exactly. And our mission for this deep dive is to really dissect those vibes and the structural realities behind them. We've pulled together data from a Central Squeeze broadcast transcript and a pretty detailed financial and roster analysis report. We want to understand not just who looks good on paper, but how these locker rooms are actually functioning given all the chaos or the excitement around them.
So let's unpack this. We have to start with the team that is just dominating the headlines, the Detroit Tigers. For years, the story around Detroit has been hopeful. Maybe the young guys will figure it out. But this offseason, they went from hopeful to, frankly, terrifying.
They absolutely did. This is a front office that decided the window is right now. They aren't waiting for permission anymore. And the centerpiece of that entire shift is the acquisition of Framber Valdez.
That was the shocker. A 3-year, $115 million deal. That's a huge number. When I first saw that, I thought, wait, are they mortgaging the entire future for just 3 years of pitching?
It's a valid fear. But this is where the financial engineering gets really interesting. It's not just about the sticker price. It's all about the structure. While the headline number is $115 million, which, by the way, is the highest AAV ever for a Latin American pitcher, the structure is designed to keep the team flexible right now.
So they're kicking the can down the road a bit.
In a smart way, yeah. The contract includes a $20 million signing bonus for 2026, but that money is completely deferred until 2030. So even though they get Valdez on the mound this year for cash flow purposes, his base salary for 26 is effectively only $17.5 million on the books.
Which is brilliant because they needed that cash flow to handle what was probably the most tense storyline of the winter, the Tarek Skubal situation.
Tense is putting it mildly. This was a heavyweight fight in arbitration.
Okay, I want to pause on this because I think casual fans hear arbitration and just think it's paperwork. But it's actually kind of brutal, isn't it?
It's incredibly personal. In an arbitration hearing, the team literally has to sit across a table from their star player and list all the reasons why he isn't as good as he thinks he is. They bring up every bad inning, every statistical flaw, all to save a few bucks.
That sounds like a recipe for total disaster with your ace.
It usually is. And in this case, you have Tarek Skubal coming off a season where he was a back-to-back Cy Young contender, walking in and demanding to be paid what he's worth. The Tigers offered $19 million. Skubal asked for $32 million.
That is a massive gap.
Huge. Usually teams try to avoid this. They settle before it gets to the room, but they went into the room.
And he won.
He did. It's a record-breaking award. $32 million for an arbitration-eligible player. It's just unheard of. I mean, it shatters the previous ceiling set by guys like Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani in their arbitration years.
So that's my concern then. Does that fight affect the locker room? Does Skubal walk into camp with a chip on his shoulder? Does he look at the front office and think, you guys tried to shortchange me by $13 million?
Well, looking at the sources, the consensus seems to be that Skubal is the ultimate competitor. The feeling is that he, got his bag, he won, he's making $32 million. The expectation is he's not going to sulk. He's going to channel that energy into dominating the division. He beat the hitters last year, and he beat the accountants this winter. He's untouchable.
And now he's not doing it alone. This next piece is my personal favorite storyline, the reunion. Justin Verlander is back in Detroit.
The prodigal son returns.
It just feels right, doesn't it? But we have to be realistic. He's 43 years old. He's on a 1-year, $13 million deal. Is this just a nostalgia tour to sell jerseys, or does he actually have gas left in the tank?
No, that's a fair question. At 43, you aren't getting the MVP from Two-A House 11.
Well,
but if you look at the data from late 2025, specifically his final 13 starts, he posted a 2.60 ERA.
A 2.60 ERA at 42 years old.
Exactly. He found something mechanically, tweaked his release point, adjusted his slider, and suddenly he was lights out again. And financially. This is another steal for the Tigers' current payroll.
Let me guess. More deferrals. More buy now, pay later.
Precisely. $11 million of that $13 million salary is deferred. So for the 2026 payroll, Justin Verlander is basically pitching for $2 million cash this year. It lets them stack the rotation with Skubal, Valdez, and Verlander without crippling their ability to make other moves.
That rotation on paper is just, it's Hollywood. But it's not just the old guard. The sources mention a lot of excitement around the prospects, specifically a guy named Kevin McGonigal. I've heard the name, but is he really ready?
The data suggests he might be. McGonigal is a non-roster invitee, but he's turning heads. He has these elite bat-to-ball skills. He slashed .305, .408, .583 across 3 levels last year.
A .305 average is impressive, but that .408 on base? That's what stands out. That means he has a professional eye already.
Exactly. He doesn't chase. The expectation isn't just that he's there for the experience. If the incumbent veterans struggle, there's a real belief McGonigal could push for a roster spot right away.
So all eyes on that first test, February 21st against the Yankees. That's going to be a spectacle.
It absolutely will be.
Okay, so that's the high, that's the excitement. Now we have to shift gears completely. We have to talk about Cleveland. Because if Detroit is the penthouse, the Guardians right now feel like they are in the basement dealing with a flood.
Yeah, it is crisis mode in Cleveland, plain and simple. The transition from Detroit's optimism to the reality facing the Guardians is just jarring.
We're talking about the gambling scandal. This isn't just, oh, he bet on a football game. This involves their closer, Emmanuel Quas, and pitcher Luis Ortiz.
The details here are incredibly serious. We're talking about a federal indictment. The allegations aren't just about placing bets. They're about rigging individual pitches.
Rigging pitches? That sounds insane. How do you even prove something like that?
You prove it with text messages. Investigators found coded language in their communications. One of the phrases that was cited in the report is, throw a rock at the first rooster.
Throw a rock at the first rooster? I have to be honest, if I heard that on a wiretap, I'd think they were farmers. I would not think they were fixing a baseball game. That is absurd.
It sounds absurd, but in the context of the betting logs, it implies spot fixing, grooving a fastball in the first pitch, manipulating the count.
Oh, okay, so spot fixing. We're not talking about throwing the whole game, just one specific moment.
Exactly, which is harder to catch visually, but the digital trail gave them away, and the fallout. It's nuclear. The commissioner's office didn't hesitate. Both players are on the restricted list. Trial set for May 4th. For all intents and purposes, their seasons are over.
And just from a baseball perspective, putting the legal nightmare aside for a second, how do you replace Emmanuel Quas? He was the best closer in the game.
You don't. That's the problem. You don't replace him. The Guardians haven't gone out and signed a big-name closer. They're looking at internal guys like Sean Armstrong or rookies. There's a massive, massive void at the back of that bullpen now.
So with this dark cloud hanging over the team, the franchise is desperate for a distraction. And it seems like they are pinning all their hopes on one guy, Travis Bazzana.
The #1 overall pick from 2024. It is a lot of pressure to put on a kid, but the team needs him to break camp.
But looking at his numbers from the minors, he hit .245. That doesn't exactly scream savior to me. That sounds like a guy who's still figuring things out.
You have to look deeper than the average. While he hit .245, he posted a massive .389 on-base percentage. He has incredible zone control. He takes his walks. The narrative here is that the Guardians need him not just for his play, but to change the conversation. They need a shiny new toy to distract everyone from the legal issues.
So it's a save face move as much as it is a baseball move.
Exactly. If he starts on opening day, the headlines are, Bazzana era begins, not Clase indicted.
All right, let's move west to Kansas City. The Royals. They aren't dealing with federal indictments, but they have this very strange operational problem. You called it the case of the missing catchers.
It's a bizarre situation. You go into spring training, and priority 1 is keeping your pitchers happy and in rhythm. To do that, you need catchers.
And the Royals, they don't have any.
Well, their backup, Luke Maile, he's out for personal reasons. And their other signing, Jorge Alfaro, is stuck with visa issues. Hasn't even reported.
So who is catching these major league pitchers?
Rookies. Prospects like Carter Jensen and Luca Tresh. And this really matters, because spring is when pitchers are refining their stuff.
But why is that such a big deal? I mean, can't a rookie just catch the ball?
It goes deeper than that. Spring is where a pitcher learns to trust his stuff. If a rookie catcher keeps dropping a curveball on the dirt because he can't block it, or he can't frame a slider, the pitcher subconsciously stops throwing that pitch with conviction. He starts aiming it. And once you're aiming, your mechanics fall apart. So by missing their veteran catchers, the Royals are actively stunting their pitchers' development.
That makes total sense. So you have a pitching staff that can't get into a rhythm, and into that chaotic environment, you drop maybe the most volatile experiment in baseball, Jack Caglianone,
The unicorn.
the Jack Tani experiment, the two-way sensation, 6'5", 250 pounds, just a physical specimen.
He's a giant, and the dream is that he hits bombs and strikes guys out. But you have some pretty sobering numbers here. I do. The hype is real, but the minor league data is concerning. Last year, he posted a .157 batting average and a .532 OPS.
Oof. .157. That is not major league ready.
It's rough. And this is the danger of the two-way player. It's incredibly difficult to develop both skills at the pro level. He's trying to learn how to hit pro pitching while also learning how to pitch to pro hitters.
So what are the stakes for him this spring? They open against the Rangers on Feb 20th.
The stakes are incredibly high. If he goes out there and strikes out half the time, the Royals might have to make a hard decision. They might have to force him to pick a lane, just pitch or just hit, rather than letting him be this unicorn. He needs to show he can make contact, or the dream might die in Arizona.
Fascinating. Okay, let's head north to Minnesota, the Twins. If Detroit is aggressive and Cleveland is crisis and KC is chaos, I feel like the Twins are Frankenstein.
That is a very apt description. They are taking a Frankenstein approach, especially with their bullpen. They've decided to be steady, but they're holding it all together with duct tape.
You called it a Frankenstein approach. Who are the parts they're stitching together?
Well, it's a bit of a gruesome analogy, but it fits. Look at Liam Hendricks. 2 years ago, an elite closer. Then he beats cancer. Then he blows out his elbow, needs Tommy John. The Twins are signing him hoping the 2022 version is still in there somewhere. Then you add Andrew Chafin, who's bounced around. They are betting on track records over current health.
It's a high-risk play. But the biggest move for the Twins might be the moves they didn't make.
That's the key takeaway. There were rumors all winter about trading Byron Buxton or Pablo Lopez. The fact that they kept them is a signal. It says they believe this division is winnable. They looked at the Guardians falling apart and said, why not us?
And they added Josh Bell.
A solid, switch-hitting insurance policy. Not flashy, but he lengthens the lineup. It's a very Twins offseason. Sensible, low-risk, high floor.
Which brings us finally to the south side of Chicago, the White Sox. They're projected to lose 100-plus games again. But they made a move that feels like it's more about marketing than winning right now.
You're talking about Munetaka Murakami.
The Japanese judge. 2 years, $34 million. I've seen the clips. The ball just explodes off his bat.
It's the Southside experiment. They brought in a legit superstar from Japan. But there is a real concern we need to talk about. It's the velocity gap.
Is it really that different? People always talk about velocity, but isn't baseball just baseball?
It is, but the margins are razor thin. The average fastball in the majors is sitting around 98 miles per hour now. In Japan, it's closer to 94, 95. That little difference changes reaction times by milliseconds. Plus, Murakami is coming off a down year because of an oblique injury.
So he has to adjust to the fastest pitching in the world while also rehabbing a core injury. That's a tall order.
It is, but the marketing part is undeniable. Fans will tune in just to see if he hits a ball 500 feet, the sound off his bat. It really does sound like a cannon.
Man, they have some giants on the mound, too. The skyscrapers.
Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith. Schultz is a 6'9" pitching prospect.
6'9", that's a power forward, not a pitcher.
Exactly. These guys are the actual future. They probably won't be on the opening day roster, service time manipulation. But watching them in camp is going to be a glimpse of 2027 and 2028.
So we've toured the division. We have the spenders, the crisis, the void, the duct tape, and the experiment. Now we have to rank the vibes. Who is winning spring training right now?
I think we have to look at certainty and star power. For me, Detroit wins the vibe check, hands down.
I agree completely. When you bring in Valdez and Verlander and you pay your ace, you are telling your fans we are here to win. It's just undeniable energy.
And conversely, I think we have to agree on the bottom. It has to be Cleveland.
Yeah. You can't have federal indictments and rigging pitches in the headlines and expect good vibes. It's just toxic.
It's a distraction no manager wants. Every single interview is going to be about the legal case, not about baseball.
So let's get into some bold predictions. We've seen the landscape. What happens in the next 6 weeks?
I'll start in Cleveland. I predict Travis Bazzana forces his way onto the opening day roster. I think the team is so desperate to change the narrative that if he shows even a glimmer of competence, they'll put him at second base to save face.
I like that. I'm going with a prediction for Detroit. I think Kevin McGonigal, that prospect, hits .400 in camp I think he plays so well, he pressures the front office into benching a struggling veteran.
That would be a bold move for a contender, trusting a rookie that early.
And for the Royals,
I'm predicting Jack Gaglione becomes the three true outcomes king of Arizona. We're going to see massive viral homers that land in the parking lot, but I also think we're going to see an excessive number of strikeouts. It's going to be a roller coaster.
so what does this all mean for you, the listener? If you're looking at the AL Central, you're seeing a division just completely in flux.
We have Detroit's checkbook, Cleveland's legal team, Casey's missing catchers, Minnesota's duct tape, and Chicago's Japanese slugger. But here's the final thought I want to leave you with.
Let's hear it.
Beware the fragility of paper champions. We look at Detroit and we see a super team because of the names. But remember, they're relying on a 43-year-old arm, and they just went through a bitter $32 million fight with their ace. Tension like that, or an injury to an older pitcher, can unravel a season just as fast as a federal indictment unraveled Cleveland's. The gap might be smaller than the headlines suggest.
That is a great point. Paper rosters do not win rings. So here's your homework. When you turn on that first Tigers game, don't look at the scoreboard, look at the dugout, look at Verlander. Is he mentoring Skubal or is he sitting alone? When the Royals give up a passed ball, watch the pitcher's face. The AL Central won't be won on a spreadsheet this year. It's going to be won by whichever team doesn't have a nervous breakdown first.
Exactly. The truth is in the details.
Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive. It's going to be a wild spring. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.